We're live. Pledge allegiance.
Good evening. I'd like to call the February 12th, 2019 meeting of the DPS Commission to order, and we'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We'll take the roll. Chairman Kostick is not here. He's in Florida, fortunately. Kennedy's here. Les Smitsky, absent. John Riley. Lenny Pedersis is not here. Brenda Cloutier.
Here.
James Bundy.
Present.
And Ted Van Oss. Okay, we have the agenda. I'll entertain a motion for approval of the agenda.
I would move to approve the agenda.
Support.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. You have the vouchers 13,819 through 13,830. They're on page 20 to 24. The packet's a little bit out of order.
Just a little.
I apologize. That was on a main break. Phil said, I got to go. So.
So the vouchers are page 20 to 24. If there are any questions, hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Support.
All in favor, please
Aye.
say aye. Opposed? Motion passes. We have the statements of revenue and expenditures, page 25 to 30 in your packet. And if there are any questions, we'll entertain those. If not, we'll have those filed. Are there any questions? They can be filed. We have the treasurer's report. That's page 18 and 19 of your packet. Are there any questions about the treasurer's report? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to pass the treasurer's report.
So moved.
Support.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. I see we have nobody in the audience for public comment. We can proceed to our action items. First action item is the election of officers. That's page 1 of your packet. And I spoke with Chairman Kostick, and he has agreed to, if nominated and elected, to serve as chairman for another term.
And he is nominated.
Okay? Is there a second?
Support.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. I will agree to be vice chairman.
So moved.
Support.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Move Les Schmidtke.
And we move Les Smitsky to be secretary for another term.
Support.
All in favor, please respond by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Motion passes. So we have elected our officers for another term.
I thank you for that, because now one of my jobs is done. I can take this to
have to present it to
Margie, and we're set. Thank you.
Okay, the second agenda item is dust control. We have the proposal in front of us. Briefly, the company has agreed to extend the same price D&D emulsions for another year, 2019, at the same rate as the previous year, 58 cents per gallon. And they only ask us to give them 3 weeks' notice prior to application. And I will entertain a motion to approve that.
Well,
Move to dust control.
okay, and I'll support.
And who's supposed to notify?
Well, they notify the
Vendor.
company.
Yeah, right. Who does that? Okay, that's you?
DPS does.
Yeah, but a person, that'd be you, John, right? Okay.
We coordinated with Wayne County to get all the roads graded prior, let it settle in a little bit, and then they apply.
Okay, good.
I just have a question before we vote on it,
Yes.
please. They have had this rate. We've had them for years. They've had this rate. However, petroleum products have varied and basically been going down. Has anybody checked this? Do you know, John? Because you wouldn't have. I know it wouldn't have been you necessarily.
I did. I believe
Did you?
Lorinda did check on other
And-
options.
She did.
Yes.
Okay. Good
And-
enough.
And with the bridge the way it is, this
Which
the
is
best
what
deal going.
which was one of the big things last year. So, okay. Thank you.
So we have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Item 3 of the action items is the Hawthorne Drain Cleanup. That's page 4 to 16 of your packet.
And I would make the motion to approve the Hawthorne Glen drain cleanup.
And I'll support that.
Okay, and then very quickly, the board passed it yesterday. So unless there's some, and we've of course talked about it before, so we should be good to
Right.
go.
Yeah, just briefly, there was only one bidder.
There was.
So we had 2 people go to the preliminary meeting, and there was only one bidder, and the bid was quite a bit lower than we had anticipated the cost to be. So we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. And page 31 to 34 of our packet is the budget for 2019-2020. And Ann, will you make that presentation for us?
Basically, what I found out, I went over the last 3 to 4 years, and consumption has pretty much stayed stable. So we don't need to talk about the revenues. I budgeted the revenues the same as we have for the last couple of years, just because it's so stable. I mean, it really goes up and down very, 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 very little. So I had the past 3 years, and we still are at the same
I
level.
do have a question on the revenue page.
Yeah, we
Okay.
can go to the, yeah.
I just want to clarify. On our revenue page, we have in various categories retained earnings. That would be not all of our retained earnings, but rather the retained earnings we might use in the current year or have used in the past.
Just the current year.
Okay. I was just wondering, and I don't know if your program could do this, but on retained earnings, since it's not a total, but it does reflect, like for instance, that we went down 100%.
Right. Yeah.
Can we get rid of those because that's deceptive? Because we're not really going down 100%. We're just not using any this year.
Right. Yeah, I mean, because when we do present the budget, this is for your purposes. When we do the budget, we don't put the comparison because a lot of them say DIV because you can't divide. It just it blanks it out. So.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. I just wanted to clarify that.
And can I get you to speak into the mic?
Oh yeah. But yeah, so for the majority of it, we're not going to really go in the detail of the revenues. We're going to look at the expenditures, and then we'll come back to what I think we need to do to adjust rates and things like that. So we do want to start off. We're going to go to the
Page 36.
page 36. So page 36, so obviously we're going to look at our water side, our sewer side, our refuse side, and the wastewater treatment plant. So those are the 4 big categories of expenditures. The first part, so page 36 and 37 are the water, and 38 are the water portion. The water portion makes up the biggest portion of the budget. The first page on 36, we're just going to kind of go over the differences and explain why that happened. A lot of the times when we look at the current and the past, when we do our current budget, a lot of times you see the same numbers because if you look at history, those are pretty much those numbers. I mean, it's been consistent. You can look line per line per line per line. There's no use going up and down. I mean, this budget is, $6 million. Whether I go up $500 just because we're going to adjust, we look at the last 3 years, make sure that those items are right in that area, and that's how we budget. Because after all, it is a budget. Actual is actual. Budget is budget. It's based a tool that we use to operate. And If we look at the first page on page 36, so again, I'm just going to go through the differences and why the differences are the way they are. If we look at the first page, you can see that a lot of it is the salaries and wages, and those are all allocated based on water, sewer, and refuse. Obviously, the most is to water. With the men, it's 70% of the salaries goes to the water, and then 30% goes to the sewer, and very little goes. The only one that the men don't go to the sewer portion, the refuse portion, that's only the secretaries. So that's the management, and so just a little portion of theirs goes allocated to that side because the guys don't do any work on that area. It's just the phone calls.
Okay, question for you.
Yep.
There was an increase full-time regular. Of course, we had the new contract.
Yep.
So that's part of that.
Correct.
Is the salaried people
I do.
Is there and what's that?
That's
increase?
across the board, and
What's-
at this point, it's just the cost of inflation, which is 2.36%. That's just going to be across the board. That decision hasn't been made. That's just how we
That's how
budget.
you put it in.
Yep.
2.36.
Yep, and that's inflation for that area, for the Midwestern,
Okay.
Flint, Ann Arbor
All right.
area.
And just curious, health insurance has dropped significantly. Is that due to fewer people or
Nope.
lesser rates?
If you look at that, we
Is that
did
due
break
to
it out.
retiree medical?
Yes. So we broke out the retiree medical, and that's because we opened a new health savings account trust for the retirees. So I broke it out, and that number is what we'll put into that trust at the beginning of the year, so it earns interest for us, so we can pay our future liabilities down.
And that reduces the other.
And it reduces the other one. Yep. In total,
Yeah.
it pretty is.
Prior year,
yeah.
everybody was together.
Yep.
Right,
Now
Yep.
we have to
so
break
we got
them out.
50,000.
Yeah,
Correct.
we have to break out for retirees.
Yep.
Just to go back up, we did have an increase both in overtime and part-time temporary.
Yep.
What?
Yep. So the part,
And I assume it'll be the same in the other
right.
areas. What
And
caused that?
those kind of went up, and then at the end of the day, I do reimburse it. I don't have it in here because I don't really know what that portion is. But if you look at the salary rank total, and then at the end each year, I do a portion which is a reimbursement. So I reimburse if they work on whatever department they work on. They do those work orders, and at the end of the year, I allocate it out and I change it out. But these are true figures, so they're maybe a little inflated. And then as far as overtime, the breaks have been crazy, so that's truly justified. Part-time is really, John, just Mark. He's and then summer help.
Correct.
Right. Seasonals. So, has Mark been working more than in the past, or it's just his base? Okay, so he is working more. Okay. Are we okay with the salaries
Yes.
as far as they're being budgeted? Okay. The engineering, we've noticed in Sohail's bills, when he's doing engineering, a lot of things is just basic. Like, they're not really project related at this point. He's just looking at something, or he's looking at water, or he's here or there. So we put that up a little bit because we're just putting a little bit more there. It's being more true to what it is. Like I said, and if it's project related, we put it to that project. But this is more general if we're just calling and asking him some different things. So that did go up a little bit. The legal fees, now that the contract is settled, I put that way down. We may not even use the 5,000, but just in case. Okay, if we look at page 37, obviously that big number, if we look at the water. So when we redid the contract, we figured out the water would be a true 14% decrease. So that went down 14%. However, in parentheses, the actual water increase that would have came to us, had we not, was the normal increase from Great Lakes Water Authority, was 1.6% across the board. So that number will come in play later, but that's the number that would have been a normal increase. So due to the contract, it went down 14%, and that's a big number, $188,000. So that's going to make a difference, and I'm going to show you what the theory was to use that number for. Building maintenance went down. Between the main repair and the main repair contractor, because of I looked more at the actual numbers and adjusted those accordingly. So that's why one went up 25,000 and one went down 25,000.
Okay, so it's just like, just
It
to
was
make them more actual.
Make
It's
sure more actual
nothing-
across the board. Nope,
Okay.
didn't do anything.
That- Good.
Okay, now our big page is 38. All right, if we look at page 38, the 970, the capital outlay. If we look at that number, we still have the water supply study, which was 25,000. The water asset management was 50,000, and then other is just an excess. We actually have excess revenue of $33,000. I just put there just in case we would need that, but it did go down substantial by 116,000. And how it went down is because last year we had the PRV in there on the south end. We had budgeted 150,000 that we did not use. So that's why that number went down. And we don't have another 150,000 to put in there. So right now, just a couple things are being replaced. Okay, here's the big ones. The bond payments. So we have the bond payments, and then we have the interest payments. What had happened is we had a couple fall off. So if we look, the 2018 fell off in 18. Last year, the West River Road Grow Water Main, a $200,000 bond payment fell off. And on both sides of the interest in principal. So what I know, the next two big projects on the list were talking with Ohio and talking with Belcostic, that the two main water mains that were next on the priority list were the Parkland water main at 1.5 million and the Meridian Road water main at 3 million. So I did add those to it with an assumed assumption rate of 4%, which is on the conservative side, but I did call the bonding attorney. And we could actually get those two water mains done bonded with still decreasing the budget. One, because of the 14% decrease in the water savings, and one, because one of the big bond payments fell off. So I felt if we're going to bond, let's bond. Because if you'll see on the sewer side, we're going to end up bonding for the screens that need to be done at the wastewater treatment plant. So based on this budget, we're going to borrow about $6 million and get stuff going. Since the money's there now, even with that, the water side had reduced by $123,000. And as of right now, on the water side, I am not raising rates. We're going to take that savings and put it into the water mains without raising rates on the water side. Is everybody comfortable with that?
Les, we're on page 38.
Yep.
Yep. Is he okay? Is he getting there? Okay. So is there any questions on that?
Just when you say matures 2018, it's already matured?
Those are already done.
They've
They're
already done.
They're
Okay.
falling off, yep.
They're done.
And that one that matured in 2019, a $200,000 fell off.
Okay.
So those are some big projects that fell off and gives us that ability to go out for more bonding. Is everyone good? All right, so now we're going to the sewer side. This is just sewer operations, part of it. On page 39, everything pretty much stays the same.
All the reasoning is the same reasoning
Yeah.
that would be
Yep.
for the other one.
Yep,
so,
correct, yep, across the board.
Changes up there.
Yep. If we go to, here again, on the sewer side, another bond payment fell off. So if we look at the sewer plant upgrade, those matured, because everything else stays the same. I kept, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry,
Let's go up
Ann,
to the
one,
top.
just on the administrative expense.
Mm-hmm.
That didn't change, that 4% didn't change, correct? We had that last year.
Right, that's correct,
So
yep.
it's just based on.
Yep, the revenue. So page 40, here again, we're gonna look at, if we go to the bond principles, so this is good, so another one fell off, the sewer plant upgrade fell off. And that was a $62,000 bond payment, so it wasn't as much, but it did fall off to help the situation. On that side, nothing really changed except that. So that budget for just the sewer operations went down $67,000. Oh, and I did want to tell you that, so on the maintenance main repair on the sewer side, we kept the repair in at $100,000, which would be normal repairs, and then we kept the cleaning and television visiting it for $150,000. So those remain the same, and those are okay? We need to keep those the same?
We certainly wanted to do that.
Okay.
And just
Yep.
for my education, what is a Section 125 plan?
That's our health savings account now.
HSA,
Yep,
okay.
yep. And we just did a whole change, getting a higher deductible healthcare plan. So the rates went down, but the Section 125 went up a little bit for an overall, we should have an overall savings.
Okay.
Okay, so here's, the next page is refuse. The refuse stayed the same. I asked Lorenda, because I didn't know those numbers, I just put in a 3% increase for, as far as the refuse contract and the yard waste hauling. And they seem to be on track for last time.
On the refuse, you know,
Mm-hmm.
we have that. Well, and I guess it doesn't matter with the budget. Never mind. It
Okay.
doesn't matter with the budget.
The sledge hauling, that did go up. I put 125,000 because that's about where actual is because of the bridge. So we increased that to what it will be on a more actual basis. So the only thing next is the, I had the 7-year maintenance thing that's every 5 years. I thought I had to put it in every year, and Lorinda goes, no, it's every 5 years. We don't have to do that for another 4 years. So that went down $12,000. Here's the capital outlay. Let's go to 970. This is where all the money is normally. So on last year's budget, we had budgeted $785,000 for that line item. If you can see what that was, consisted of the screen for influent was 335 is what it was estimated at. And then the intimate lift pump upgrade, that was budgeted at 280 last year, and we're keeping that in. That wasn't complete, correct? Okay, so we kept the 280 in there to do that. And then there's some minor things that need to be done, the elevator, ventilation, elevator cables, so just some minor capital improvement that needs to be done. And here is where I'm putting in the Dupron screens. So if we need to, the estimated cost came in at $1.4 million. So I am bonding those as well. So between the three projects, that's $6 million that will be bonded. Is everyone okay with that?
Makes sense.
Okay. So then, now let's go to the revenue. If we look at page 32, we're going to look at the summary page. So actually, the water revenue generated with the current rates and with the reduction and with everything included in this budget, the revenue meets the expenditures. therefore feel the need that we could go a year without raising the actual water rate. On the sewer side, what if I look on page 31, on the sewer side, we're gonna keep, bless you. We always want to keep with the theory that we are going to pass on the Great Lakes Water Authority to the consumers. I mean, that's kind of been the theory we've done for the past probably 10 years, that, you know what, we can't go without a raise increase, we need to pass that on or we're going to get behind the 8 ball. So knowing that that was such a big savings on the water side, we didn't need it on the water side, but we're definitely going to need it on the sewer side and the wastewater treatment plant. So what I did is took that 1.6% and adjusted the sewer rate, which helps to pay for the sewer treatment plant. Those are the revenues that pay for the sewer treatment plant. And so I took it from 30 cents, from 360 to 390. And that's going to give us room to pay for that bond payment. That's basically the amount of that bond payment to get that bond payment covered. We still have money in the bank, but that's going to be used for the capital outlay. We just can't take 1.4 million out. So if we do that, that will cover the bond payment from here on out. And what it did for the 30 cents, if we look at the bottom of the page, is that it would increase $7.50 per quarter, or that 1.59%. So that's the theory behind this, that we still don't want to say, hey, we're just not raising rates, because we will get, it's so quick that we're going to get behind that 8 ball if you don't do something. So thought this would be the best approach. We could justify it by that major improvement to the treatment plant that hasn't been done in so long. So by doing that, we actually will just go into our reserves. If we look on the page 32, if we put this as our, if we increase the rate, we'll still go into our reserves by almost 400,000. Last year we were in it by almost 800,000. Not that we didn't use it and we didn't go into the reserves that much, but we'll still, with this budget, we'll go into the reserves. But that little increase will help tremendously in the future to pay for that bond payment. So I think
Is that a 20-year bond?
25 at 4%. So I estimated that. Will it come in better? It might. That was just talking to him quickly. And I think that is it. Do you guys have any questions? So yeah, we're going to get a lot of projects done, but those were the next on the priority list. And whether we do it now, we might as well do it all at one fair swoop.
Thank you.
Yeah, and yes, and I think we can afford to do it. Let's do it with,
Right. Get them
instead
done.
of trying to build something up and then pay in the end.
Right.
Let's do it now while we
Right.
can afford it.
Any more questions? All right. Thank you.
I know.
yeah.
The big raise for the commission
Oh,
here, the board.
commission.
Yeah, you
Stayed
didn't
the
see
same.
that, didn't see that. And only 5 of us, so it'll be a real.
Yeah,
You guys can
that's a
split
big
it
Yeah.
because the other two aren't here.
I don't know.
I'm sorry,
Les
6.
was a little late because he.
Yeah, he only gets half.
Yeah.
Good.
Thank you, Ann.
Good night.
Discriminate.
Yes,
He's got-
have a good
He's
night.
got 2 things going for him, age and handicap. You gotta be careful.
Okay, so we've heard the presentation for the budget for 2019-2020. Are there any questions? No questions? I'll entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Anybody willing to second?
I'll second it.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The motion is passed. Manager's report.
Next up, we have Ryan Walsh from the wastewater treatment plant.
Okay.
Everybody got a handout from Ryan?
Okay. Oh, there we go. 2 dots in the middle.
Hello, everyone. Hopefully you had a nice holiday.
You too.
Thank you. First up on the list is the elevator hoistway fan slash ventilation. CE Rains sent the specifications for that to Detroit Elevator for the request to file for a permit for the installation on that, and we have not received a confirmation on that. And so Heil left a message, 211, and he's waiting to hear back on that. So this has passed with the elevator inspector, and so this is our last step, and then we can install it after.
That took quite a bit of time to get it through the inspector, didn't it?
Yes, about 6 months maybe. And currently it is locked out. The inspector, he was on site 1/8 and he locked us out
So he's saying
with the elevator.
get
Yeah.
the
Yep.
get the job done, and then I'll
Yep.
let you
Yeah.
use it.
Yep. Next up is the screens for the influent. CE Rains left a message with the state of Michigan, the Department of Environmental Quality, inquiring about the status with our Part 41 permit, which CE Rains submitted that January 10th, and we're just waiting to hear on that. And CE Rains is still working on an overall cost on that.
Ryan, one question on that. We put $1.4 million in the budget. Are we comfortable with that number,
I'm not sure about that. So
I know 1.4 was a
Rains
little
would know.
higher than we were talking initially.
a lot higher.
Yeah,
Probably about $1 million higher, or
quite a bit.
it was a lot.
And
yeah.
but so we're still just in the guess.
Yes. Yep.
uh,
That's all I know about that.
Okay.
So that's in the process. Capital outlay. Is there any concerns with any of those? We got the intermediate lift pump, the fan for
42.
the elevator, the cables are on there, which is after. And
That's page 42 in our
Yeah.
plan, in our budget.
We're doing the sludge hauling because of the bridge. Are we thinking of staying with that? I know we're stay with it as long
Same as last
as
year
long
with-
as the bridge is out.
Yes,
and then we're
that's
going to go
correct.
back to our old, assuming the bridge can handle the load. We'd go back to the way we were doing it before.
yes,
Okay.
but for this summer, it's a same with waste management and that with the centrifuge,
Okay.
and I'm gonna start setting that all up. So it'd be like mid-summer, same as last year. And it should be more smooth and efficient also, because yeah. Next on here is the raw sewage pump 1 upgrade, which is item 4 on the capital outlay. And this is also listed. It's in the ACO. It's page 11 on there. That raw sewage pump one is near the end of its life, and it will be matched with our second pump. And the pump is already on site right now, so we just need to remove number one and then install the larger one. And let me.
Will that be rebuilt and kept as a spare then, or what do you do with the old one?
The second pump we're gonna do for a rebuild this summertime, so that's why we have to replace pump one before we send our second raw sewage pump out for a rebuild. That's the plan. And then for that, there's the physical pump estimate, and there's electrical work, and then the variable frequency speed upgrade. So I got 3 estimates there for the physical of removing and installing that raw sewage pump. And I got 3 estimates for the electrical. And looks like Suez was the lowest for the physical pump upgrade. $12,000. Seaway was almost twice as much on that. $28,000, and then Kennedy Industries was a no bid for that. And then for the electrical, Suez was about $9,900. Douglas Electric was $4,100, and then Newport, who we use now, was $5,000. So I would just recommend under those that we use Suez for the physical upgrade of that pump, and that we use Newport for the electrical aspect, because we already use them for all of our electrical needs right now, and they just know the plant and everything. And then for the variable frequency speed upgrade, we just have to use UIS for that, since we use them for all of our other SCADA work with that.
These are all budgeted items,
Yes.
Correct.
Yeah,
so we don't need
All under that.
to give our concurrence.
correct.
Yeah.
Oh, sure, we don't
Yep.
have to
We don't have to
nitpick
say
it.
anything or anything. Yeah.
Okay. And this would start after 4/1 of this year. It'd be after, yeah.
Now,
Yeah. Yes. Yep.
I
Yeah, the
know,
new-
I notice you have down here, you need elevator to do it, so we have to get the elevator done.
Physical part of that, but not for the
Not for
electrical
the
part.
electrical or the,
no.
the
And the
VFD.
VFD. Yep.
So we could
That's
start on
correct.
that, and And hopefully
Yeah,
that, hopefully that elevator will work out quickly.
Yeah, I'd probably say maybe within a month or so.
Yeah, so we'll be
Have-
okay.
Yeah. Yep. And that's all I have.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ryan.
Thank you.
I have no problem with
Anything
what
else?
Ryan said.
Anybody have any issues with using those recommendations for the physical and electrical?
None whatsoever.
Okay, proceed.
Okay.
Thank you,
Sounds great.
Ryan.
Thanks.
Ryan. We now have a roads update from Mr. Bundy.
Well, and this will be very quick because all I wanted to do was just to ask the commission to start to think about the roads. You know, we got defeated, and so we're sitting here just to think about it and see if we want to do anything this year with them. You know, we're going to hear the complaining come April, May, and probably all through the summer. So I'd just like everybody just to be thinking about roads, and let's talk about it next meeting.
Okay.
Jim, right on the road thing, one thing that disturbs me or concerns me is the Airport Bay Bridge by the Albemarle Boat Club. You know, that thing is a very integral part of safety and everything on Grosse Ile. And I'm just wondering, what do we know as a township, anything that's moving
That
forward
bridge
on
will
that?
be replaced in this year.
That's good. It's good for the people to know that.
It was Mr. Loftus talked about that yesterday.
Very important.
So they'll start on the county bridge in 2019. They'll do the Miso Bridge in 2019. The West River was scheduled for 20. When they do the great, when they do the not the great, they're not doing the great, but when they do the piers are this year.
Oh, yeah.
Next year is the bed, and when they do that on the county bridge, they'll do the West River
Good.
overpass at the same time.
Good.
So there's only one shutdown instead of two. But Miso is to be done in 2019.
Good.
What about the Park Lane Bridge?
Park Lane Bridge, they're looking for money for that. And the Park Lane Bridge, and by Park Lane we mean near the north end there,
Yeah,
or heading
north of
toward
Horseshoe.
heading north there.
Yeah.
That bridge is the same as the West River overpass bridge. The difference is Park Lane is underwater,
Right.
so that's what makes that different. I will say I believe the reason that they don't see it as much of a problem is because there is a way around. It's obviously inconvenient, but there is a way around versus like a Miso that's the only thing there is. So they're I mean, it's not that they're forgetting about it, but it's not quite as high on the list.
Thank you. Chairman's report. I have no report. We have commissioner's report. We'll go around the table. Ted?
I have nothing.
Les?
Well, this is the first time in all the years I've been on a commission that I was late. And I'm very sorry for that, but that was Mother Nature's fault.
Imagine.
I don't have anything tonight.
Mr. Riley?
Nothing further at this juncture.
Brenda?
I have nothing except motion to adjourn.
Hold on, I got one thing.
Oh, I'm
If you don't
sorry.
mind.
I didn't look. John, I forgot you were here.
No problem. I'd just like to recognize the DPS staff and our contractor, Campo Brothers, for the outstanding job they did during the polar vortex. While everybody else was told to stay home and cuddle up, we were out there 16 hours one day and 10 hours the next day. So I'd like to
Saw you.
show our
Oh,
appreciation.
Swan Island.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yes, John. Congratulations. Good job.
You know what, John, let's talk about that just for a minute. So on those cold days, the temperatures were in the teens, maybe down to 0, and I assume you did have main breaks during that period, right?
4.
So how many hours did you have to spend out in that sub-zero weather repairing main breaks to keep the water supply to the citizens out here? About.
16 hours the first day, 10 hours the next day, and then between 4 and 5 on the other 2 breaks.
And all that's outside work
Yes, sir.
in very cold weather.
Like Phil said, we're on Swan Island. That wind was just howling off of West River Road.
Thank you, John.
Yeah.
Only thing I can say is, suck it up, honey. We worked, my crew worked a day and a half. We came into the office to punch out, and he says, "Oh, you're early this morning." He says, "No, we're going home. We haven't been home in 2 days." We worked straight through, so don't feel you're the only one that worked in that cold weather.
I'm not. I'm just acknowledging the efforts made by the staff, Les. Did they have buses back then?
Don't look out the window what it's doing right now.
I see that flag howling.
They have a wind alert out tonight.
Yes.
Hopefully the ice is off the power lines or things are really going to be bad.
Thanks, Phil, for sitting in. Appreciate that.
Yep. Fast Phil, you've done it again.
There we go.
And sorry about the confusion on the packet, but like I said, I was working on a water main break, and Phil said, "I got it. I got to have it now. I'm going out of town." So I said, "Here you go."
Don, you did a good job.
Thanks.
So we have a motion to adjourn.
I
All in favor?
I will second it.
Aye.
Aye.
Meeting's adjourned.